Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we have a new set of authentic decals which have come to the game, and therefore we're going to go through them, how I'm going to approach them, and hopefully help you, give you some tips and tricks on how to get them done as well. Authentic decals are great because they're something that you can grind while not thinking about having to grind all of the other vehicles. If you're researching a 390,000 vehicle, why not try and do a decal instead to try and make the grind a little bit less and focus on these smaller targets. Also at the same time, I will once again say, turn off your auto repair. It literally serves USL. If you want an example of this, the SM92, which I used yesterday, maximum repair is 4,945. Right now, leaving it, I've saved 600 SL just because I went to sleep and haven't played, War Thunder since yesterday. The Genieri, 1200, max repair cost 761. So just by leaving these, because I wasn't playing the game, I've saved myself nearly 1,000 SL just on this lineup. So remember to turn off your auto repair, which you turn off right here. Now, let's have a look at the decals. You can find them in the week's latest section, or you can find them in the achievement section. I normally say it's better to find them in the achievement section. You'll find them here because you can add them to your favorites, and then they will appear in this tab here on the side, so you can easily track them while you are doing them. So, let's get started. First one is the Excellent Aircraft Helicopter Award, and what you have to do is in air vehicles of USSR, you need 15 missions played, place in the team 1. Now you can do this in two separate ways, and remember we're approaching this from air realistic, ground realistic, and also naval arcade gameplay. So there are two specific ways. You can either go for the attacker way of doing it, or you can go from the fighter way of doing it. The fighter way of doing it, in order to get a place in the team 1, you're looking for at least 3 kills. So if you're confident in air realistic with specific planes, with specific fighters, my picks personally would be stuff such as the Yak-3P, an incredibly powerful fighter. Something like an I-185 is very fun as well, just got to watch out for the lockup at high speeds, and even something like the Yak-7B or the Yak-1 or the Yak-1B. These are all very powerful fighters with not a ton of ammunition, but enough to be able to get 3 kills. If you want to go a little bit higher, you can always do it in jets as well. Just understand that ground pounding does get you a decent amount of score when it comes to jets. The general way, if I'm struggling to do it in a fighter, in something such as a Yak-3P or in something such as a Yak-7B, which are both very good mid-altitude to low-altitude fighters, then what I'll do is I'll switch over to using attackers, and normally I'll go for stuff which is at BRs, which are pretty aggressive, meaning that you can use the guns at the start of the battle to be able to kill light targets, kill pillboxes, and do stuff like that. So what you're looking for is stuff like the IL-2 series of planes with the 23s and the 37s, mainly the 23s though. The 23s can pop everything apart from some of the heaviest targets in air realistic, therefore meaning that they are incredibly powerful at getting score over time. The easiest ways to get first places, if you're not confident in fighters, is by ground pounding in stuff such as attackers. Just going after AA, going after artilleries, going after howitzers, stuff like that. You'll be able to rack up the points in no time, and with stuff such as the IL-2Ms, because you have so much ammo when it comes to the secondaries, the 7.62s, you can kill so many ground targets with them. So just by doing them, maybe you use this period to maybe grind out some of these attackers if you haven't touched them before, and also you can do some dailies alongside them, depending on what your dailies are. So yeah, you either go the fighter route and try and aim for 3 kills a match, and then if you're close to first place, just ground pound a little bit, or you go the attacker route. Remember, with this one, you don't have to win, so playing selfishly, yes, it's kind of annoying for the team, but if you are killing a lot of ground targets, or if you're aiming for 3 air kills, you're normally going to be doing enough work for the team anyway to be able to try and win. The next one is the emblem of the 1st Division, and this one is for France, and you have to get 12 missions played and 2,000 battle points, or 2,000 mission score. So generally you want to do this at low tiers. People spawn way more in low tiers, and also, people generally will give you a ton of targets to hit, and also you will have more options. So going down to rank 3, trying to do these decals alongside your daily tasks, alongside your special tasks, is probably the way to go, so you can kind of min-max and do the battle pass alongside doing the decals. So my recommendation for this one would be the 3-7 lineup. So the ARL ACL1, the M4A4, and then also the AMX13 FL11. This is a very powerful lineup, all have very strong guns, pretty good armor, and also mobility in the form of the AMX13 FL11. This does mean you're a little bit short-handed when it comes to planes, but you can still throw in the F6, F5, which is a very good ground pounder. It does get access to some pretty nice ordnance in the form of the 2-1000s and also some rockets, so you can bring that along. And the MB175T, which is a really weird mix of a kind of attacker slash air superiority fighter. So take these, or bring along the MB157 if you want a true, air superiority fighter, and you should be pretty good. Your aim when it comes to getting the decal is understand that you get more mission score while being in planes. This is just because you get more mission score for playing kills, and also it's much easier to get assists because you can just go around and keep shooting people with stuff like the 50 cals from the F6F, and then you can be able to rack up the points that way. So you want to spawn first in something like the AMX13 FL11, get your scouting going, get your overall kills going with the AP shell, which is very powerful, and then once you die in this, if you do die in this, maybe get a cap, maybe get a kill, then transfer to the plane. That's when you're going to get most of your score, and then remember that you have to end the battle in a ground vehicle in order for it to count. So you want to transfer eventually, depending on how much score you have, depending on the condition of your plane, into something like an M4A4 Sherman or an ARL-44. Don't worry about the AMX-13 being slightly up-tiered with the 3.7s. This just means it's going to be easier for you to get into a plane because of the fact that it's going to be less spawn cost compared to these two. If you want another lineup, the 7.3 or 7.7 or 7.0 lineups are all incredibly strong for the French. You can even go 6-7 if you want, with something like the AMX M4, the AMX 13, and the CA Lorraine. You could go 7.0, I think is probably the way to go. The Char 25T, the AML 90, and the AMX 1390. This will give you great access to planes and enough for you to be able to do quite a lot of damage. The next one is the Goat Rampant, and this is just get kills in air vehicles of Sweden. So this is what we call a grinding decal. All you've got to do is just play the game basically and get kills. So in Air Realistic, it doesn't really matter what you play. What I would do is I would use it to just research through the tree. So wherever you are in the tree, if you need to spade some vehicles or research all the modifications on vehicles, this is the time to do it. So the J22 is a very good fighter. This would be definitely one of the choices I would pick. All the J21s are great vehicles. The A21s are great as well. The J26 is just a Mustang, so if you're used to that, you'll do well in it. The T18s are also ridiculously good bombers, and then they are attacker aircraft. These are bomber hunters. Don't be fooled by that dive bomber torpedo bomber thing. They have this one has two 20mm in the nose and is incredibly good at going after enemy bombers and also being used as a support fighter for your allies. So just play any of these, and just spade them out, and you'll get the Go Rampant over time. The 27th Armoured Brigade Group, once again, this is another 2001, but it's for Britain. So This is, I would say, a little bit easier than the French one, just because you have much more solid ground lineups and also air support. So you can either do the 3-7 lineup, the 2 Cromwells plus the Sherman, very strong lineup overall, and then you can complement that with some pretty nice planes, whether you want to bring, you know, a Spitfire, whether you want to bring a premium Hellcat, or maybe even a Mosquito if you're crazy enough, but generally what you want to do is do the same tactic as the French stuff. Use the ground to get an initial advantage, so in the Cromwells, you know, use the speed to get a cap and then a few kills, and then transition into a plane to be able to get some bombs off and also, you know, machine gun some targets and go after aircraft in order to get the 2000 and then transfer back into ground. If you want to go a little bit higher, the 7-3 lineup is very strong for Britain, and so is the 7-7 lineup, so the Cent, the Carnarvon, you know, the Vickers, the Centurion Mark 10, the Conqueror, all of these create great lineups and definitely worth it. You could also go 6-0 if you wanted. The Centurion Mark 1's pretty strong if you have the Black Prince. If you don't have the Black Prince, 5-7 also works with the Comet, the Challenger, and also some of the other stuff. 4-7 is really good too, Firefly, Churchill, Avenger, and with that lineup you can also bring the Typhoon, so you can get a guaranteed bomb drop with 2 1000s, I believe. Yeah, 2 1000s, which is very strong indeed in getting a ground kill. So overall, you do have a lot of options for Britain, but once again, just taking the general idea of, you know, getting a cap, getting a kill, and transferring to a plane, get the majority of the points of the plane, while either doing cast rolls, air superiority rolls, whatever you feel more comfortable in, and then transferring back to a tank to make sure that you get that 2000. That's the general way that you do these. It works pretty well, and has worked for years at this point. The Flying Fish one is for naval. For Germany, you just need to get 75,000 damage. This one is simple. You just have to do damage. Like it's as simple as that. So you just have to turn up and shoot things. This is a one which we'll do over time. So use this one to spade vehicles. I'm going to personally use it to spade stuff like the S-100 and the AFD, and also get into stuff such as the Emden in a rank 3 for naval. So that's the way to do this stuff. It's just a general grinding decal, so you can do it while focusing on other things, such as dailies, such as specials, and such as other stuff. Also, if you get the battle pass, the Z25, which is in it at level 38, this one actually is a rank 3 vehicle, so you can bring that along if you don't have, you know, a rank 2 to 5 vehicle for Germany. The next one is the emblem of the 142nd Squadriglia, and this is another just general grinding decal. 40 kills in air vehicles for Italy. You literally just need 20 kills in air realistic. This really isn't, you know, that hard. This is just one you could do probably in a day or two, depending on how much you play. And all you got to do is just, once again, focus on researching and spading vehicles from rank 2 and above for Italy. There's a ton of really cool vehicles for Italy, a ton of ones which are definitely worth flying. This whole part of the tech tree is worth flying. They're all very fun vehicles. Same with the Reggiani series, including the Reggiani 2005, and I'm going to do it personally in the G91s, just because that's where I am at the tech tree when it comes to researching. If I was going to pick one to do this pretty quickly in, the C202 would be a good one, because it's a jack of all trades aircraft. It's good at pretty much everything, so, you know, it's the only limiting factor it has is its weaponry, and you can work around that pretty well. The G55s are very good as well. The only ones I would probably stay away from are the C205 Series 3, just because it's a little bit heavy compared to some of the other planes that it faces, but everything else is just completely fine. Like, it's a great tree to play. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. When it comes to its fighters, some of the best fighters in the game. The next one is the 13th Tank Battalion, and this is another grinding one. So you just need 60 kills in Japanese ground vehicles. So use this once again for general grinding. You know, wherever you are in the tree, just keep playing that part of the tree, get yourself some spaded vehicles, get yourself some research, and just push forward. Remember, in realistic, these are halves, so this is only 30 kills for this emblem. That's not a lot, right? It's not a ton of work, and I don't know where I'm going to do it, because I have the whole tree researched, so I'm probably just going to whap out the 4-7 lineup, which is so fun. You know, the Cheeto Late, the Cheeto, and the Chinu 2, it's a banger. And if you don't have the Chinu 2, you can throw in something like the M24 if you want, just as a light tank option to be able to complement that really wonderful 2 combo of these mediums. You can also, as I said, just... Ooh, wait, hold up. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm going to play. So yeah, basically, you just use this to spade vehicles, and use this just to research through it, and make sure it lines up with your dailies. The next one is Penguin emblem, and this is an interesting one, because it's not actually tied to a nation. So you can do this with any nation that you want, and it is a little bit harder to do because you have to get the first place in the team or missions for missions 1. So you need 12 missions 1 and place in the team 1. Now, once again, you can do these in 2 ways. You can either do it the attacker way, or you can do it in the other way, which is of course the air superiority way. Now remember, because if you're doing this emblem here, you know, you need 15 missions played, get first for air vehicles USSR. If you focus on this one first over Penguin, then you'll probably already have a few for Penguin. It's going to be very hard for you to play 15 missions and get first place every time and still lose all 15 missions, right? So you'll at least have a little bit of your way to go here. Now, if you're not very confident in the air superiority role, what I would do is I would play either one of two nations. So you either play one of these vehicles, the Mauler, the 82 or the 84. You go ground pounding. You know, you use the 20s to be able to pop pillboxes and pop, light vehicles. Use the bombs, especially on the Mauler, to be able to destroy convoys and columns and stuff. Every time you take off or set off in something like one of these, you want to aim for about 10 ground target kills. And once you've hit that number, you want to go back to base and then reset, and then do that over and over and over again. So you do that in these, or you can do it in an A36, for example, which is very good at destroying light targets on the ground, and that will get you your first place. The other one that you can do is you can go to France and do something very similar. You can play the AD4, and with all of the rockets that you have, with all the bombs that you have, you can do the same thing. You just do it from the other side of the equation. But understand, if you do this, there's going to be a lot of American attackers at this BR, so you might get swarmed by a bunch of ADs and a bunch of Maulers and things like that. Now, this isn't the way to, win games. It will win you some games, basically on how you how you ground pound if your fighters are able to do pretty well, but it does mean that it's going to be a little bit rough. It might take a little bit longer because your win rate percentage is going to be a bit lower compared to other stuff, but I think it would be fine just getting it done through there, since it guarantees more times that you'll get first place compared to your team. Now, if you want to do it from a first place and win, and you want to do it through air superiority, you have to play the meta vehicles. So the P-41 for the Americans is pretty good. The lower BR you go in air realistic, obviously the less experienced the general player you're going to play against is, therefore it's going to be a little bit easier to play. The HE-100 is a monster of a machine at 2.0, definitely one to pick up and play for the first places. Same once again with the Yak 1s or the Yak 7, great machines for rank 2 for Britain. Spitfires all the way, Spitfire Mark 1 or 2, just learn how to use the guns. For Japan, I would probably go for the J2M2. This thing is an insane machine and can do whatever it wants, really. For China, you got the pick of the litter, but the one you pick is not the CW21, because that's actually rank 1. So you go for the P40E1, or you go for something like a P47 or a P51. Just pick whatever you feel more comfortable with when it comes to this tech tree. Italy, once again, anything in this fighter line. France. You know, you'll have the VG33C1. This is the pick of the litter here, which isn't rank 1, and then Sweden, the J21s and the J22B, and even the J22A. Now, what I would do is I would leave this one till the end after doing all of the others. The reason is, by doing a lot of these other ones, you will get first places and you will get mission wins, so that means it will just make this one a little bit easier. So don't focus on this one first. I would actually focus on just the kills ones first, just because they're easy to do, and you know, you'll get them over time. You know, focus on the naval one as well, and then focus on the 2000s, and then focus on the first places. So you basically ramp up over time, and understand that you have a long time to do these. So you have until the 25th of next month, right? You have until the 25th of March. You have a whole month to do these in, so don't feel pressured. You know, a lot of these you could get done in a day if you grind hard, but a lot of these you'll easily get done over a 3 to 4 day period, depending on how much you actually play. So don't worry too much about them. You'll get them done. You know, we've been doing pretty much all of them for like years now. I think like it's been kind of insane. So don't ever feel pressure to get them done. You know, yeah, you can see here like we've pretty much done all of them, and they've all had pretty similar challenges. Some of them have even had even crazier challenges on them, so make sure to check them out. One thing to mention is there is one here which you have to purchase, which is the emblem of the 14th Field Artillery, so make sure to get that if you're interested in it. It's only 200 GE, and I think it's worth it. It's a beautiful decal right here. That's one I didn't mention before. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Conte Baraka, Trigger Hippie, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Hosest Kishot, Hans, Barine, and Samuel Schlick for supporting the channel.